All right, now that push has come to shove, I thought I'd get a little more proactive with my discussion here. Um, I think the modern gun market is excessively consumerist and has a ton of FOMO, fear of missing out. People also spend entirely too much money on things that really don't perform any better than the bargain bin, run of the mill GI spec shit, and none of it's going to survive, getting artillery striked anyway, so I don't really see the point unless you're just rich and you want to show off, which I'm convinced is 90% of the game. You get some pay pigs on social media to give you all the money in the world, and then you've got a blank check to buy as many registered full autos and $3,000 AR-15s as you can. Anyway, beside the point, I have always kind of been miserly with my money. I don't buy the most expensive thing, I buy the middle of the road thing and make it work. I don't do any online shopping, I pay for everything in cash. So it means my options are extremely limited to begin with. For example, my AR-15 is a old DPMS that at some point got converted by one of the previous owners into like a DMR build that had some sort of commercial hunting scope on it. It had a old school UTG Pro circular top top rail handguard, and this handguard is so old that it predates key mod and M-lock. It had miniature screws that you would screw in to lock rail sections onto the side of it. And I think the guy who owned it before me lost a ton of the rails because he would never tighten the screws down, and then he wouldn't pay attention to where they went, and they'd fall off the gun at the range or whatever he was doing. So you can imagine that in your mind, and then of course a bipod, classic old school metal bipod adapted for Picatinny rail. And by the time I was done with it, I had converted it into a Cope M4A1 build, basically, or like a Car 15. I put a Chinese made M16A2 style detachable carry handle on it. I just used whatever piece of shit Magpul front flip up front sight I had because it had a slimline railed gas block, and I'm not paying $50 for a front sight post to do like a cytoxyl build. And then I dropped I want to say Teco MFT $100 aluminum quad rail on it. You know, the cheapest one I could find. I found a place that had quad rails and I went, okay, excellent. Because I absolutely despise Keymod and M-lock. You buy a handguard, and then you buy $20 little metal rail sections for it, and then you have to make sure all of it is constantly tightened down with Loctite or whatever else to ensure that it doesn't walk its way off the gun versus just dealing with the weight of a quad rail. So, again, for an example, my gun is nothing special. It's effectively in a configuration that a government issued M4 would be in, but it works, it shoots. I've never had any issues with it, and it didn't cost me $2,000. Like, it's got a GI spec trigger in it. It's got a buffer tube and stock equivalent to an M4. Just the plastic outer shape of it is different. I haven't slapped any mag pull on it. It's got an A2 grip on it. Like, I think people are just pansies. I think people are pampered. They want a 5 pound featherweight rifle, and then you've got certain individuals who think that they need to waste $80 worth of mag pull money to make their gun look hip and cool, even though Magpul is fuck ugly, if we're being honest. Like, the only thing Magpul makes it's worth a damn are their AR-15 mags. I have a ton of them. Their AK mags are okay as long as you don't punt them off the concrete. They'll hold up. But I would still suggest that if you own an AK, you should get communist spec steel mags. They will last the longest. They are the most durable. The weight be damned. Speaking of magazines, I think the only other mags I have is I've got some GI spec aluminum mags, and I want to say they're Brownells, and they have the improved mag pull follower. And then I think I have a handful of Korean mags that are probably made out of steel based on the weight. And they have a generic, almost 3D printed, machined plastic copy of the Magpul follower. So they have the improved anti-tilt follower. As far as this goes, I think that's about it. I've made my point. Ciao.